Welcome back to the extended version on YouTube.
Runnin It Back podcast, man. We're here with Brian Viloria, bro. So you're about to quit, right? It's a fighter that you fought, right? And I'm assuming you did this damage to him. You put him in this state, and you contemplated quitting. He comes out of it, and let's carry on from that point.
He comes out, then he was right there ringside. You can see he will go on YouTube, watch the first fight when I won the WBC world title. You can see me walking in, and I remember one of the guys pointed at my opponent that just came out of the hospital, and I looked at him. I'm like, and his name was Ruben Contreras, and I looked at him, I was like, oh, Ruben's here, and he's like, yeah, we invited him. He's sitting there ringside with his wife, and I walked up to him, and I hugged him really tight because I was like, wanted to say, yo, I was so happy, and I'm so sorry what you had to go through, but I'm so happy that you're here giving me the blessing to continue on what I had to do, right? And so I almost cried at that spot. And then I kind of snapped back. I was like, yo, I gotta fight for the world title right now.
Wow.
Like, I'm about to go right into the ring.
Right into battle.
And and like 30,000 people in Staples Center about to watch me. So I got, kind of shook myself off, trying to compose myself again. Walked in and won the world title in like one round. Knocked the guy out in the first round.
Yes.
Wow.
In the first, and all of this you can see on YouTube. You get to watch it if you type my name and fight against Ortiz, and you'll see me winning that world title. Young Freddie Roach there, running into the ring, grabbing me and lifting me up in their arms and carrying me around the ring. It was exciting. I think, if anything, that kind of stood out the most because for a brief moment in history, I almost quit boxing. I almost stopped myself from that sport, and if I did, I wouldn't have won 4 world titles. I wouldn't have gone and meet crazy, wonderful people that I've met, and I was just, to me, I think that kind of was sticking out a lot in my career.
Wow, man, this is one of my favorite parts.
I know.
It's my favorite part of the show.
I get so emotional. Oh my goodness! But I literally love listening to everyone's stories or their Runnin' Back moments.
Yeah, I mean, because it's
something you don't know. You almost quit boxing. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's that time in every athlete or every person that we've interviewed in their lives.
I couldn't. Yeah,
it's a
I couldn't
decision.
sleep.
You're
I couldn't
faced with a
sleep
decision
for like days. I would wake up in like sweats. I could just see his face, and I to this day I still vividly remember the fight, like that. What exactly happened? What transpired? And I remember hitting him with the uppercut, and it was just. I've never seen blood so thick and black that come rushing out of his nose. Oh. And I'm like, that doesn't look right. And then he stopped himself in a stool. Fight was over. I was in the dressing room taking a shower, and my manager at that time called me up and he's like, "Hey Brian, I need you to get ready. I need to sit you down and talk to you about something." And I was like, what's going on? And he's like, I just found out that your opponent is rushed to the hospital. He suffered a seizure right outside his locker room. And so he was walking out from the ring, and he right before he reached the locker room, he just dropped and started having a seizure. Luckily, the hospital was just like 7 minutes away. Had it been any longer, I don't know. God knows, if he still would be alive today. But
wow.
Yeah. So the whole thing was like, I remember the phone calls I had with my parents, the phone calls I had with my friends saying that I'm done. This guy doesn't make it. I'm done. I cannot.
This is not what you were in for. Yeah.
Yeah. This is not what I was. I don't know if I could stomach this anymore. I don't know if I could look across myself from my corner to the other corner and knowing that, I just took somebody else's. I just couldn't do it. And I was already, I kind of just was content already of just hanging the gloves up at that point. And I was still young. I was like 24, 23 years old at that time. And I had a whole career ahead of me. I was just barely 12, 13 fights in.
Wow.
And
well, yeah. I mean, it everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
And you had to go through that. He had to go through that. So he has his running it back moment, and that might be it. That might be his running it back moment.
The fact that he came to your fight,
that's huge.
That is huge.
You know what really
like
killed
no bad
me?
blood.
Gave it a motivation.
What really killed me.
First round.
Yeah, what really killed me was going into the hospital and seeing his kids. That was why I made that decision. Seeing the kids crying, seeing his family and him being harnessed up, sleeping. That
Yeah.
kind of tore me up, and I was like, I can't. Walked out, and I was like, yeah, this is not this is not why I'm in the sport, though. This is
Right.
not. And
Yeah,
so,
and that speaks
yeah.
volumes, bro, of your character, because you know it's not everyone is like that, because you're in a sport, you're in a fighting sport. So
Yeah.
if you sign up for fighting, you know what you're signing up
yeah.
for, and you know I think that's where that aloha spirit comes from. Is you know you felt that you had that aloha spirit towards him, right? It wasn't about boxing anymore. It was about life. It was
What you
about
feel.
you know all that
Yeah.
stuff. So yeah, that just speaks volumes, man, of your character. So thank you for sharing that. You
Thank
talked
you.
about his family. Talk about your family, man. Like what's that like?
You coming home anytime soon?
You know, I visit home a lot. My wife is from Kauai,
I'm
so
from Kauai.
when we try, yeah,
Kauai girl.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Cool.
I married a girl. We made 10 years. Just a couple weeks ago.
Oh, congrats.
And so I got 2 kids.
Congratulations.
Yes, I got 2 kids. I just got a
Wow.
baby girl who's 11 months old. She's a quarantine baby her whole life.
Oh my
So she come out of
gosh.
hospital. She's in quarantine, but I think I got a 6-year-old son. Very very cool. Hang out. You know, just very lovable kid.
He
Does
training?
does
Is he
he
training?
train
Is he
too?
training?
Yeah.
I train him. Of course,
Right
you know, you
on.
try not to steer him that way, but I gotta teach him how to fight. He has to know how to use his hands.
Yeah.
You know, because you never know
Cool.
when you got to use it. But he's really smart. He's a bright kid. You know, I want him to study hard in school. You know, not use it as a punching bag, right?
Mhm.
I want his head to be used for something a little bit more creative, maybe. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it's whatever he wants. I'm gonna support.
Mhm.
You know, it's hard to not see what Daddy does. Yeah, I have my belts and everybody knows me, and he sees my fights and all that. So hopefully, you know. Hopefully,
Hey, look, man.
you know, he
look,
doesn't
as
go that
much
way,
as-
but if he does,
I'm sure
I'm gonna be
Chad
there. Daddy.
understands
You
I
right
got a
there.
son, man. I got a 17-year-old. And like, you know, I was still playing when I had him. So, and this is funny. I don't know if you even know this, Ryan, but my son's first word was ball.
Instead of dad
Oh.
or mom.
Yeah, his very first word was
It's
ball.
innate.
Ball.
It's
That was his
it's
first
in it.
word. So
It's
at
grown
that
in
moment, I was like, yeah, he's gonna play sports. You know, you was like, oh, you know, I don't want to push him. You know, son, put your hands up.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh.
you can't help it. You know, and
it's
he's
in the DNA,
it's
right?
in the DNA,
You know,
bro. He's
the
around
apple
it.
don't fall
So
too far. You know, it doesn't fall too
Nope.
far from the tree. So
exactly. So he's gonna be in the ring, bro. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's just for training or to pursue it as a career. I agree with you, bro. I think
Yeah.
boxing is one of those skills that
it's
I think
it's
everyone
tough.
should
It's
know.
rough.
It's a good workout,
Yeah.
man. It's a good full body workout.
It's a great workout, but you know, to do it as a living, man, it takes a lot of sacrifice. A lot of sacrifice.
Oh,
I'm not saying that he
Definitely.
doesn't have it, but you know, Daddy did it already, and you know, I hope he did enough so he can make your life a little bit more easier. But you know, if he chooses that path, then I'll be there for him.
Yeah. Where was I going
yeah,
with
the
this? Anyway,
mental, yeah, the mental.
you
the
were
mental
talking a
strength
lot
of it.
about the mental prep. So
Yeah.
what is that mental strengthening, type of technique that you teach your boxers that you train or any boxer?
I teach them the what do you call that? The polysensory imagery,
Huh.
where I've been taught this back in the Olympics. Funny story. One day I woke up, right, and I was putting my stuff together. And this is how effective it gets. I was putting my stuff together, putting my things in my bag, you know, putting my shoes in, my whole gear. And my wife was like, my girlfriend at that time, my wife goes, "What are you doing? Where are you going?" "I'm getting ready for the fight." "What? Are you okay? Honey, are you okay?" "What do you mean?" "The fight happened like a couple of days ago already." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Oh my God." He goes, "I played that scene in my head so much that I could not distinguish whether it was me thinking about it and running myself through it and it being reality that it actually happened." So he kind of just morphed himself
Crazy.
to just one. I couldn't distinguish what was it happening in my head and what would actually happen. And whatever I was thinking in my head actually happened. I did win the world title, but I thought that was just me thinking about that whole situation.
Damn,
Like
because
it
you
wasn't real life.
visualized it so many times. You played the
visualize
fight
it
over
so
and
much,
over and over.
and over every day. And not just
Wow.
you visualizing it, you get to taste it, smell the arena, feel the gloves, smell the gloves, see the lights, see the people, hear the people. And I run myself through that imagery maybe almost every day before practice, every day after practice.
So how do you?
And I run myself.
How do you do that? Do you have to like meditate to do that, or like?
Yeah.
You
Close
just
your eyes,
really
put on
feel
something, sit in a quiet room, and I would run myself in every day. From me putting my gloves on, me even to how the Coliseum would look, how the people would sound like.
Yeah.
I would taste the atmosphere, smell the gloves, because I know, and figure out what type of resource I can get and grab it from there, right? And I try to put it in my head, okay, this is how it go. And then when the actual fight happens, I will see myself moving after a hook, moving after a jab, coming back with combinations, and run myself over this over and over. And then whatever will happen and can happen in the ring, I've already prepared myself mentally for that situation. What if I get a cut, right? How would you act after you get a cut? What if you get hit low blow? How would you act? And how would you, react to that? When you're tired, you hit with a good punch, how do you react? Would you go forward? Would you hold on to the guy and put yourself in the scenario over and over and over 1,000 different ways? And that was just going through my head. A week before the fight, you couldn't even freaking talk to me directly because I'm like, my mind will be somewhere else. It'll be on the fight alone.
Wow.
Right? And I'll run myself through this so much, so many times that I could not, the reality of what was going through my head became like, it distorted each other. And it became like one already. So when I was packing my stuff, I thought it was just me running the scenario over my head again. And I literally thought my fight was that day.
Wow.
And when she's like, no, the fight happened. Are you okay? Do you need to go to the doctor? You get hit in the head too much.
That's
like any athlete.
That's
though,
like
right?
similar to an actor who plays their role
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over again. And it's like they just kind of they're in their role. Like that's amazing perspective. Like I've visualized, I've done that. I've visualized, but I don't think ever to that extent of where I taste the dirt. I smell the grass, the football, my gloves, like the helmet. Like that's pretty deep. So with all that, bro, with all of that, and you actually show up to the fight on fight night, right? You're in the locker room, you're getting taped up, you're getting your mind right, the sort of like the quiet before the storm, I guess. Yeah. And then when it's your time to walk out, bro, like, because I did an MMA fight, right? So that was the most crazy thing I've ever done. But from an actual boxers in like that type of arena, the world championship, like what is going through your mind as you're making that walk to the ring? I've always wondered, because you see these guys, they got their hoods on, they're so like, it's, I don't know, everyone's got their vibe, like their thoughts. What was your ring walk like?
For me, it was like, okay, let's just go to the ring already. Like I really just wanted to like transport myself from the locker room to that ring already. It just all that in between, it was just, well, whatever. I just want to get through this, right? But when I'm going through the ring, it's like I'm already in that game mode. Like, okay, this is gonna happen. This is what I want things to happen. This is how we're gonna take things as they come. So I'm already going through my mental fight plan, my strategy already in my head. So everything else that's happening outside is just what else is happening outside, right?
It's just white noise.
It's just white noise. When as soon as I zoom into what I need to do and what the task is at hand, everything else is just a blur. Even when the fight is there, it's just you and the guy. Everything else, I don't really see. I don't really hear the people. It becomes like this, like Snoopy, whatever. When the teachers or the adults are talking, wah, 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 wah. Yeah. Sometimes it sounds like that to me. You know what I mean? Like I hear it, and everything that you see is just you, me, and that person that's across from me in that ring.
Even the ref.
And,
I mean, is the ref kind of not even there?
For me in my video, it's like he comes in and out. You know what I mean? Like you pay attention. It's like, have you ever focused so much on like an exam or doing your work, and somebody's trying to talk to you, and you're like, wait, what? What?
Yeah.
I didn't hear. I'm sorry.
All the time.
It's like that for like 1 hour. You know what I mean? Like that for like that moment in time, where like people are like yelling everything else, but then you're just trying to get to this. You want to do this. You want to accomplish some of the things that you've set your plan out to be.
And that
you just become tunnel vision.
Over.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, it's done. And you got your hands in the air and all the things that you've been working for months and months and days on end, just like that. It feels like 2 minutes just went, or like a couple seconds just
Yeah.
went by.
And you wanna do it
the
again.
fight's over. Yeah.
Wow.
And then you whoop. It just I don't know, just this warped feeling where just then all of a sudden it just whoa, you know, what the hell just happened?
Next,
Come
you know,
out of
2 days
this-
later, you're still getting
Yeah.
ready for the fight. You're still in it.
Yeah.
Where am I?
So, bro, I gotta ask you, man.
Yeah.
How many times, or how often does it, or does it not happen where you talked about your game plan going into the fight? You visualize how you're gonna start. I'm setting the pace. I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna be a counter puncher today. Like, how many times did the fight go according to your visualization, to your plan that you've already played in your head all those thousands of times? How often does it actually do that? I know it's probably rare because in sports it doesn't, but like, was there ever an instance where like it happened the way you saw it?
Spot on.
It never goes the way you plan it to. Never does. There's always going to be some sort of, you know, a diversion here or there, but then you always try to bring it back, right? When you see yourself going off this way, you're like trying to, all right, get back on track, or you're always doing that. But there's always some sort of like an obstacle, I guess, in the way that you really like, you try to prepare yourself, but you always, for some reason, you forgot to like put that into your polysensory imagery, and but sometimes when the lights are aligned and you're like, okay, like that one fight, when I fought against the IBF world champion, I was like a 22-1 underdog in that fight, and for some reason I looked. And like I played in my head, and I knew how things were gonna go in that fight, and I prepared myself so well physically and mentally that I looked over to my friend that was riding down the elevator with, going to the fight. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna beat this guy." And he looked at me like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm gonna beat this guy." 11th round, watch. And he's like, "Okay." We walked in, it happened, and I remember that one fight. I was with Roberto Garcia at that time, and it was either the 9th or 10th round. I looked at Roberto straight in the eye, and I was like, I wish this fight will never end. I'm having so much fun. I don't know if that sounds psychotic,
Wow.
but I was enjoying myself so much in that fight that I sincerely didn't want it to end. I was like, I want this fight to like go on forever, because what I'm doing and what I'm and how I'm performing this fight is like the way I envisioned it to, and I was enjoying myself so much. And Roberto looked at me, smiled at me, was like, "All right, just end this fight, crazy ass."
And then was it in the 11th
Yeah.
round? 11th, or what round did you end that?
11th round. Yeah.
Wow. I gotta ask you, were you ever nervous before a fight? Like, you know, is it like, you know, in football, Ryan? It's like sometimes you get those anxiety nerves, but it takes that first hit. Oh, okay,
You're
now
like,
I'm good. I'm good. Like, is it similar, or like how does it work? You take the first hit.
If you're not nervous or scared, you're not human.
Yeah.
Everybody is scared. Everybody is nervous. Everybody has some sort of butterfly in their stomach. Ask Tyson. He tell you too. I seen some of his interviews. Go, yo, I was scared. No.
Like, he
Yeah.
was
But I
also
think
hella
the
high
other-
too.
I was scared.
I think the other guy was more scared though. The other guy was more scared.
Of course. But
Wow.
as soon as that bell rings,
It's game time.
butterflies out the window. Boom. You're there. If you train properly, that just takes over.
Yeah.
Right. There's no time to be scared now. There's no time to worry about what ifs or whatnot. It's like now, game time. Right now, you got to do what you got to do. And if you just pause just for a split second or have some doubt or whatever, that's it. You're done. You can get caught with a
Sleep.
punch or you're not gonna go through that wall. But
Wow.
yeah, we're always scared. Every fighter I know is scared. Of course, this is like just human nature.
Any new
Everybody,
and up and coming fighters you training right now that we should be looking out for?
One of the fighters that I train, Chris Brandner, is actually fighting tonight. He's fighting Jaron Ennis. Not working his corner tonight. There's a couple that also fought this a couple days ago. You know, COVID has made it hard for everybody to travel and all that. And so, you know, right now we're trying to wait until next year to see if we could pick it up. I train a lot of UFC fighters. One of them is from Brazil, is black belt jiu-jitsu, by the name of Leandro Gomez, who's gonna be fighting in a couple months. Couple of heavyweight guys that I train. That's in the LFA now. Hopefully, if they win this fight, he's gonna get bumped up to the UFC world. And
Nice.
right now, I'm just enjoying myself training. Just the people that wants to learn the craft and some of the celebrities that I train, and I try to not be too accessible right now until it is all done and all that. So
That's
not
awesome.
trying to pack my plate in too much. That's
Yeah,
all.
no, I got one last question before we close here, because I meant to ask this earlier, but I want to go back to when Floyd Mayweather fought Conor McGregor. Like, they crossed the MMA, boxing.
Yeah.
As a
But
boxer,
everybody's doing it right now.
I
man.
know it's crazy, but at the time,
Everybody's.
What do you
doing
think
it.
about
like,
it?
what's your
Paul
opinion,
Logan,
man? Like,
Yeah.
but what's
Jake
your opinion though
Paul.
on that? B, like, did you feel disrespected by just allowing someone that just got their pro boxing license just because he was the greatest MMA fighter at the time in the UFC, he can come and fight
at the end-
Floyd? What was your take? I mean, it was an entertaining fight, but there's a lot of other guys that
we all
worked
knew
their
he
whole
was gonna
life in
lose.
boxing, and they want that
Yeah, but-
opportunity.
For me, I know it's just a business, yeah.
Entertainment.
Boxing is a sports entertainment business,
Hmm.
and everybody's on that hustle, and I respect that. Everybody, whether you be a fighter or some YouTuber that wants to get himself famous because he's fighting all these pro guys, or just MMA fighters crisscrossing each other to fight pro guys. Everybody's on that hustle, and you're just seeing it. And I kind of explained it. I put it out there on Twitter, saying I don't have that envious feeling, and I see everybody's pumping that. I know everybody. You got that platform. You got people that can pull people out of their seats and bring them onto a new genre, or bring in new faces or new eyes to a sport of boxing. Hey, I'm up for it. Cool.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me as a purist, and I boxing. I want more eyes, and so when people are downplaying guys like Jake Logan, or whatever their names is.
Yeah, Logan
YouTuber
Paul
guys.
and Jake Paul.
Jake
Yeah.
Logan.
Yeah, Logan Paul and these guys. I know, whatever. I'm trying to take a look at the other side. Like, hey, what do you do? You guys train hard for a lot. For these guys are just going out there and getting paid millions of dollars. Goes, hey, that's their hustle. I'm cool, but hey, there's a 15, 14-year-old right now that had no interest in boxing, now tuning into my sport, right? Maybe one of these 14, 15-year-old are inspired and get lit and be able to train because of this YouTuber guys, and maybe they
that's
become the world
interesting.
champion. Who knows, right? So I'm trying to take a look at from that.
Like a
That
positive. The
perspective,
positive.
that
Yeah, it's a
point of view.
positive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
I've never thought about that. So I was
I'm more on the
interested.
negatives. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. To get it
Yeah.
from an actual pro boxer's
Yeah.
perspective. And
Right?
it's great
Wouldn't
to
that be
hear.
That's a
some
good
shit?
take on
If
it.
you see some guy, right? He's like, oh, who's this YouTuber? Then you see this little kid who's never seen boxing, never won, but they get inspired by it, then becomes the world champion because he got inspired from this guy, because they see this sport, right? And I'm like trying to take a look from that point of view. I know everybody's doing their hustle, right? And that's their thing. And for me, I don't have that green-eyed monster type of envious, amongst these guys. It doesn't matter. It's done in history. When Hulk Hogan was fighting, guys like Muhammad Ali and all that, right? Whatever. Rocky fighting Hulk Hogan on that sort.
Yeah.
All of this, and everyone crisscrossing, but it kind of serves its purpose by trying to opening up the doors with
Yeah.
viewers that's just never seen the sport, and just broadening that horizon. Like, hey, you never know. Now people are watching boxing because of these guys,
Yeah.
right?
So that's
Tuning in
amazing.
and paying, and more interested in it, and bringing up that whole interest in that sport. So, good. Hey,
Right
more
on.
viewers, awesome. It's more better for us. But now people are buying our fights now. They're like, hey, who's this guy? Let's go, and let's go see this guy fight. Like, damn, these guys have never seen a day of boxing. Now they want to tune into all the fights. Great, I'm all for it.
That's awesome.
So that's how I'm
awesome.
trying to take a look at it.
And that's good, man. I love your perspective there. Love your mindset. And that's what made you a great champion. That's what makes you an amazing trainer. And with that, brother, we want to say thank you for
you, Brian.
joining us here at the Runnin'
Aloha.
Back podcast. B, mahalo so much. And
sir.
I miss Hawaii. I want to
Oh,
come back.
sending you
but I
all
wanna
this
spend
warmth,
14 days
all
in
this
my
good
hotel
stuff.
room.
yeah, man. Hey, when you get here, bro, we'll link, man. Hit us up.
Yeah, so I will. Thank you guys.
Okay.
Thank
Right on, B.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you
And
for
thank
having me
you
on
as
the
all
show,
for
you
tuning
guys.
in.
See you later.
Bye, guys.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Take a picture. Take one picture.
Oh yeah, let's get a photo. Hold on, we're gonna come. Should we go over to the TV again over here? Okay, B.